people today. They could spend half their lives over 50. That's a lot of living. So it helps to have a wise friend and fierce defender in your corner. A friend like AARP. So your health lives longer.
This is just slow-mo karate?
Just slow-mo karate.
Your money lives longer.
I just bought that.
I just sold that.
And your happiness lives longer. That's why the younger you are, the more you need AARP. Join today.
Welcome to AARP Illinois' virtual event. It's so wonderful to have you with us. AARP is on a mission to connect with individuals across various communities, especially those aged 50 and above. We're here to listen, understand, and address the unique needs of you and your community as we age. Our goal is to enrich your experience by expanding our local activities, providing opportunities for you to discover and engage with all that life has to offer right here in your own community and virtually. As we journey through today's event, we invite you to consider joining our dedicated team of AARP volunteers. It's a chance to make a meaningful impact and help us better serve those 50 plus across the nation. Connect with us and be a part of this vibrant movement toward positive change. Welcome, and let's make this event both fun and transformative.
Hi, I'm Gail. I'm back with another edition of In Conversation. Today I'm talking with a fellow AARP volunteer, Rick. We're going to be talking about how older adults make connections. Rick, tell us a little bit about your journey here.
Hi, I'm Rick Planos. I am a third generation Evanstonian, and I'm back in the Chicago area figuring out my third chapter.
Okay. To be clear, both my husband and I live within miles of where we were born and raised, and except for a very short period in our careers, when we left, we've been surrounded by family and longtime friends. That difference is relevant as we have this conversation. And Rick, you moved around a lot in your career and now are back at 60 and single. Tell us a little bit about how you've made social connections if you settle back into what you refer to as your third chapter.
You're right. I never saw coming back to the town I grew up in, and then all of a sudden I came back to be a caregiver. And in a matter of a very short time, my career fizzled out, my field just kind of decimated. I took on caregiving responsibilities and I got divorced and my kids went off on their own, and it was like, oh, let's start over again. So I did have to build a whole new, support system. And I was lucky that it fell together pretty nicely.
In what ways? How did you go about it?
Well, it's interesting. I guess I wasn't the best student when I first went to college, and now I found that learning new things is great and keeps me connected. And everything I meet new people. Like even at AARP as a volunteer, I've met so many great people, and it's just meeting kindred spirits and being open to new things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's great. I've often thought about if I were to change my circumstances and I would move to the city where my daughter lives, start all over as an older adult. How would I begin to go about it? And I think about some of these established networking groups that one can join. Some of them that AARP is associated with, and others. There are a lot of them out there. I get notices all the time. Have you found any of those to be particularly helpful?
I have found networking groups to be helpful. And it's funny because earlier in my career, networking was a dirty word to me. I really wasn't into it. And then I had to do it. And then I had to do it in a way that it was just people in my industry. And now I found that the more diverse it is, the better it is. So learning a new subject means meeting new people in the class. AARP, I probably made 20 really good friends there, and they're all as different as the day is long, and it's been fantastic for me. So it's really opened my eyes in many ways about, just bettering myself by knowing different people.
I have to admit that I've been a little skeptical about some of these groups, and that is putting people in false situations as opposed to an organic meeting people through other people, or what we used to do at work.
Right.
Absent work and those natural social connections, it's a little harder. So you find these groups to have some value.
I have, and it's funny. I have this argument with my kids because both my kids and their spouses all work from home, and they love this whole remote thing. And I can't even imagine that. I would much rather be someplace and meet other people. And my career has been like that all over the world. But now I found that, like, the Men Living group at AARP, I mean, these are people, I didn't know any of them. And I've only been part of it for a couple months, but they are fascinating people. And especially maybe it's a male thing that guys are usually more reticent to share, personal things. And yet in this group, and it's maybe 15 guys, 15 or 20. It's amazing how open everyone is. And it's been really helpful to me. I found it great, and guys, thank God, are getting a lot more open about sharing their problems and their solutions. But I'm with you. Like, sometimes these groups, like, I was in caregiving groups when I was a caregiver, and some of them are pity parties, and some of them are just so incredibly depressing. But in the right group, it's a give and take of learning and sharing, not just commiserating, but being open and honest. Women are more likely to do that, I think, than men are.
That's the stereotype anyway. Yeah. I think some of us are better at it than others. So we think about social connections, and then that goes to friendships.
Yeah.
And do you find it harder, easier to actually have a friendship with somebody that you've met online? It sounds like dating, and I don't mean it that way.
Yeah, that's something I've never dated online, but I'll tell you, at Men Living, I've met 2 people outside that group individually, and everything else has been online. And I think it's a combination of being open, and probably a lot more open than I was when I was younger, and the right people, and I think mixing it up is a key. Having, it's just like not watching the same news network every night, meeting new people in these groups that are all from different places. And if they're honest, and it can be a great thing. And you're like, maybe not all 15 are going to be best friends, but a couple of them are like, hey, let's meet at Starbucks and talk further about that. I've found it to be educational and in a way that is fun. It's not like I got to get a grade in this, I got to get a good score. It's more like, oh, he's really interesting. He's been through something that I can't even relate to, or something that I'm going through, and maybe I can learn something.
Interesting.
Yeah,
that's great.
But I think it's the right leader also makes a difference.
So these are Men Living or facilitated groups.
There's mostly a facilitator who's got a very light touch, but enough that the calls are not that long. So it's like somebody goes 20 minutes on woe is me, it has to stop. But the facilitator really, he's got a deft touch, and somebody inevitably brings up something that resonates with most of the group, and we're off to the races.
I wonder if you think that outside of the online environment, Men Living has a mission, are there things that they should be doing that beyond the online forums?
Well, I think a mix of everything is good. Like, I would rather meet in person. I really would. I think that's always, there's something about eye contact and sitting close to somebody that just, I think, is more likely to create an honest conversation. But like I said, that's a group that I didn't expect what I got out of it, and I've really enjoyed it. I look forward to it. I don't go into it saying, oh, I really need to ask about X. I go into it, and it always just kind of goes the right way. So I don't know if there's some magic behind the scenes that I don't know about, or if it's just kindred spirits that all are honest about the challenges they're facing.
Yeah, that's terrific. Rick, you've talked about volunteering at AARP and other places, and I think about the value of that in making social connections. Talk a little bit about how volunteering has led you to meet people.
Sure. I mean, I'm that crazy person that supports 5 nonprofits at the same time. And it's really helped me, again, coming back to a hometown that I lived in 50 years ago is a big change, and to some extent I got reconnected with people I went to high school, even elementary school with. But really through my volunteer work, I've met all kinds of neat people that have come from different walks of life. But there's a kindred spirit part of it because we're focused on the same things in some of these causes. So like, I never saw myself really having the skills to be a lobbyist, and yet AARP taught me that. And through that, and being in Springfield, Illinois, I got not only reconnected with people I went to college with that live in Springfield, but people from AARP that live there that are, specialists in some of these categories. And, some of them are the same categories that I was passionate about. Caregiving is one of them. So that's broadened my, my base of people that not only are there to teach me things, but people that can be friends and go out for a drink with or meet at Starbucks.
Absolutely.
That's really been a good thing for me. So, I mean, it's kind of made up for the people I used to have at work. And, you don't have that anymore. You're like, okay, well, who else is going to take that place?
Yeah. One of the differences between us, and I'm joking because my husband is that way too. I consider myself an introvert. You and my husband are both extreme extroverts. So we've met, we have developed a community, friends within our building. We moved from our single family home to our apartment complex, our condominium building 20 years ago, and have developed this wonderful group of friends. People ask me, how did I get to be friends with this one or that one? I think, have you met my husband? As that's him. That's not me, but I've been fortunate to benefit from those connections.
It's so funny that you say that, because I'm the guy that almost didn't graduate college because I had crippling stage fright. I mean, I could not speak in public. Yes. And I mean, if they did not start a special class for people with stage fright at U of I would not be here today. But then I had a job where, 1 minute you've got a staff of 3, and then you've got a staff of 300, and then you've got, people all over the place. And there was no Zoom in those days or anything. You had to talk to people face to face, and I had to get past it. So yeah, it's a big difference. I had to pinch myself the first time I was speaking in Springfield going, wait, is this the same guy that was like, I can't read cue cards, So it
worked.
Yeah,
good for you.
Yeah. But it's also made the transition from working to not working, from being employed and not being employed, and, building a new life. It's made it easier to make new friends, for sure.
Yeah. So we should take heart that as we age, as older adults, there are many ways that we can make new social connections and friends.
And learn new tricks. I mean, that's the thing. I think learning is such a big deal. Like, I wasn't the greatest student when I was an undergrad. Now, a week doesn't go by that I don't take a couple classes of some sort.
So I'm aware of a number of organizations, and there always have been, for women. When I think women are just better at making those connections and making friends. What thoughts do you have about that difference? How it may be different for men making those connections?
Well, I think men in general are kind of taught to be, stoic and not to bare their souls. And I think that's changing. I look at my son and my son-in-law, and they're far different than I was, and in a good way, in a better way, and I think they're different kind of parents too. But I found that as time goes on, that there are guys I know that are retiring that are like, oh my God, if, my golf game doesn't keep me going, I've got nothing else to live for. And I didn't have that. So I kind of had to find other things. And luckily, one step at a time, but you're in one group and somebody says, let's meet for Starbucks. And the next group, somebody says, hey, I had this problem as a caregiver. What did you do? And it builds. I mean, I had a birthday party a couple months ago, and I couldn't have come up with 10 people when I was in 5th grade, and I had 120 people at this party. And it's like, well, these are from this group I'm in, and these are from that group, and these are from this charity. And, it builds. So I know I need that in my life. So maybe my reticence to do it, I got past it because I was like, it's that or I'm going to sit at home, and I'm not going to be happy sitting at home.
So you mentioned your son and your son-in-law. So we think about the opportunities for older men to connect with younger men, to do that intergenerational
Right.
relationship building, and kind of help men of all ages figure it out.
Right.
What thoughts do you have about how that we bring that about?
Well, I think diversity in everything is a good thing. Whether it's age, sex, whatever, the more varied the group is, the better. But like I'm in a couple groups that are intergenerational. Chicago Innovation is one of them, where every 6 months they match me with someone 20s to 40s, and it's co-mentorship. It's not top down. It's not me teaching them how to be. It's a sharing, and I learn more than I give every time. And so those kind of groups are great. There's not a lot of them, but I find them to be really helpful. I love working with students. I'm a frustrated teacher, so that's another way that I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to learn more about AI, working with some elementary kids that are in a group that, are inventors. I work with that, and I'm like, that keeps me on my toes too. It makes me a little bit more relevant.
So we've covered a lot of ground in terms of a good number of ways that men and women make friends, make social connections, put themselves out in the world, and get out of their own heads in many ways. And that's great.
And get out of their screens.
And get out of their screens.
Get away from the TV and, get out there, and you're going to find things.
Yeah. Thanks for listening. Be sure to comment on Facebook, follow us on Instagram and LinkedIn, and to learn more about Men Living, check out the AARP blog at aarp.org/